Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights. And as always, I want to thank you for joining us. And if you haven't yet, if you'll hit that subscribe button, you won't miss a single one of our episodes. And this morning, we have David Baldacci with us, world famous author, New York Times bestseller. I know you all know the name. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for being with us. I know you have a busy schedule, and especially today because you have a new book coming out, this Nash Falls. And
Yes.
that's the book one of a new series, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's Walter Nash. He's different from my other characters. He's not military, he's not law enforcement, doesn't carry a badge. He's a businessman. He's followed the American dream. He's worked hard for a long time. He's been successful. He's made good money. They live in a nice house with his wife and his daughter. And they seem to really have living the American dream. And then his dad was a Vietnam veteran, and they were estranged since Nash was a young man. And his father passed away, and he goes to the funeral, and one of his father's army buddies sort of trashes Nash in front of everybody at the church, which is very disconcerting. Nash goes home. It's late at night. He's trying to process losing his dad and having that happen to him. And then out of the blue, an FBI agent shows up at his house and gives him an ultimatum. He said, the company you've been working for 20 years is actually a criminal organization. You can either work with us, and if you do, you're going to lose all of this, and your life is going to be totally different. Or if you don't work with us, you're going to go to prison. Those are your choices. And so all of a sudden, his American dream life is gone, and Walter Nash has to start over again.
Ow. Yeah, that's either
Yes.
way you go, it's what a life changer.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, it's going to be a bestseller. They always are when you write. But you also have book two coming out this spring, which is Hope Rises, same series.
Hope Rises. Yeah, it's the same series. I thought I could do the Walter Nash story in one book, but there's another character, the antagonist, his opponent in the story, Victoria Steers. She runs this criminal organization. And at first, I thought her character trajectory is going to be one way. Then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to play it safe. I'm going to go out on a limb and see if I can do something with her character. And that really necessitated me writing an additional novel called Hope Rises. The first two chapters of Hope Rises is in the back of the Nash Falls hardcover. And those two characters really dominate the second novel, and they're very equally matched. And I think people will be surprised with what happens between them.
Excellent. That's a good way to start right there. Now you're a world-renowned author. I mean, I'm not going to hold that back. You are. Um, and you've written, I have no idea how many, 50 adult novels, something like that in multiple series. Some as short as two books, three books, five, seven. 620 Man series, that's a well-known one. Archer, let's see, John Puller series. Your short names of your series rather than these long extended. It's like your character name. That's it. That's the one that goes. How do you come up with all these series?
I been ever curious in my life, and I like to learn a lot of different things. And also, when you start a brand new series, it's like a jolt of adrenaline. It's a brand new, it's starting from square one. It's like writing your first novel again, because you're building a brand new character you never met before, and you're putting them into a world that you're creating right then. And that's really exhilarating. So I like to create new series to give myself that impact. And it helps me with my writing. I get excited again. I was super excited to write Walter Nash because he was a brand new character, and everything was fresh and new. So I think that's why. And I have a lot of different interests. I write about the FBI. I write about detective series, the military, espionage, people like Walter Nash who really sort of just leading a domestic life, thinking everything is okay, and then the rug gets pulled out from under him. So all of those different types of stories really keep me motivated and excited.
That's important. I know when I write the best, I mean, you get flowing and it just goes, it just creates itself. I find my characters write the book when I get into it.
Yeah, no, once you get to know them and see what they do on a page, they start whispering to you about what you're supposed to do with them.
It's very odd. People that are not writers really don't quite understand those words, but it's happened. I've talked to so many authors that say that you get into a book and it kind of writes itself. It takes itself where it's going to go. Now
Yes.
that's a question because Author in the Headlights is for readers and writers, readers to find their next best read, and writers to find those little tricks of the trade to help them get ahead in the business. Um, Do you have any special tricks of the trade? How do you go about writing your book? Do you lay it all out ahead of time? Are you a pantser, seat of the pants and going? What's your process?
Yeah, I'm more of a pantser than an outliner. I've tried outlines in the past, and it seems like anything in the outline doesn't really work in the book, so it's sort of a waste of time. And I think writing an outline, at least for me, it's like kicking the can down the road and you got to figure it out later anyway. So why not just sit down and start writing a novel? And I like to get a feel for my characters, as you mentioned, being in the pages, they start to talk to you. You don't really get that feel from an outline. So I'm very much of a pantser. I write about things that I may not know a whole lot about, but I'd like to know a lot about. And I jump in and do a lot of research. I immerse myself in that world. I get excited about the elements of that new world. And that freshness, that excitement and adrenaline rush gets transferred to the pages as well. Instead of writing about something I know about deeply, which you can do that as well. But I found I have all these little knowledge pots, that I built up over time, and I'm learning new stuff every day. And my knowledge pots are unique to anyone else's just because by default I'm one person. And if I think of an idea for a story, then I can start dipping into all these knowledge pots, and all of a sudden I have a very original story because I'm using my experience, my knowledge and life, which is different from everyone else's. And that's the process I use to build my story, my craft.
Oh, that's cool. And if you want to be a good writer, there is no wrong way to write. There's many ways to write, but everybody has their little bits of how it works.
Yes. You have to find your own groove. And guess what? You may change your process, during the course of your career. And there's nothing wrong with that. You may be an outliner, then a pantser, then back to an outliner. There are no rules. You just have to find something you're comfortable with.
Now, you're most known for your suspense and legal thrillers, which you're superb at. But I also happen to know that you have done other things with your writing too, though somewhere a long time ago, middle grade books. And that is not something most people would know. But Vega Jane, that's quite a few book series. And the 39 Clues, and then you go clear back to Freddie and the French Fries, which I understand your brother did the artwork for.
Yeah, my brother, it was great to be able to work with my older brother. He's was an artist during his career. It was great to sort of collaborate with him. The Vega Jane book series, I actually sold the first one Scholastic under a pseudonym. They didn't even know it was me because I wanted them to buy the book for the story, not because of the name attached. And when they came to me to write the final book in the 39 Clues series, I had to read all 5 books before that because I had to have continuity, which was, quite a bit of work, but also a lot of fun. And since I was a thriller writer, I sort of had a fun meeting with the head of Scholastic, and I said, "Hey, can I kill people in these books?" And the head of Scholastic was like,
That's a
"Well,
good question when you're talking middle grade. Yeah.
yeah, it is." And so they allowed me to do that, and they said, "Well, we'd love it if you could keep the brother and sister alive." And I said, "Okay." And then my editor, who edited these books at Scholastic, I just saw her recently, and she goes, "Yeah, and you killed the sister." I'd forgotten that.
Oops. Oops. Yeah, some habits are hard to break. Said I love the middle grade early reader books, kids books, because we grew up reading, we keep reading, and we keep learning. You said you're a lifelong learner, as am I, and I think that's important. Otherwise, you get stuck in life.
Yeah.
You really do.
You do. There's a whole world out there to explore. You're never going to be able to know everything, but any day you goes by that you don't learn something you didn't know the day before, I think is a wasted opportunity. That's why we have this thing here. It can handle a lot of stuff.
Here, here, the best computer there is.
Yes.
If we keep it growing and moving, that's right, elastic. So, as someone seeing the world from the top, gosh, I have no idea how many books you've sold now. I know one thing said 130 million copies. I don't know how old that was. Let's say when you
Hmm.
get up there, they keep growing anyway. So if I give you a number today, it'll be different tomorrow, obviously. Hello again. This is Strider, and I have to apologize to you, our viewers. We have lost our entire link. We had a frozen screen, then a total blackout, everything shut down, and we have lost our connection with David. I apologize. His schedule is so busy, it is nearly impossible to get a hold of him, as you can imagine. And so we're going to have to say goodbye for today. This is Strider. I want to say thank you to David Baldacci and for all of his work he puts in. and for spending his time with us today here at Author in the Headlights. I apologize again, and until next time.